Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I'm your host, our Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. And this article is making the rounds. I have had numerous people send me a link to this or coverage of this since last night, whether it's been on Facebook or on Discord or on private messaging. So, how a new generation of gamers is pushing for inclusivity beyond the table. Not a bad topic, certainly a valid idea, but I'm not even going to go for the bulk of this article. I have issues with a number of pieces of it, but I'm going to keep this on one piece. And we're going to talk about where it covers the OSR. So, short paragraph. It's interesting because it quotes two different sources, and I believe both of them are professors. I know the one is not sure about the first. One's a postdoctoral fellow, the other one's an assistant professor. So if automatically there are voices of authority, right? Because that's what we're looking at. So in the middle of the screen, here's the paragraph. But even within these gaming communities, there is some friction. Old school Renaissance or OSR, and by the way, if you're a member of the OSR, you would know that old school revival, old school resurrection, old school Renaissance, old school role playing, old school RPGs are kind of used interchangeably. I don't think we've ever agreed on what it is. So I guess we should thank doctoral student or fellow Dashiell for telling us what we haven't been able to properly label in all these years what it means. So here we go. Old School Renaissance or OSR is a gaming movement whose players claim they are against outside politics permeating their game space. All right. Now, if he's saying this is my personal opinion, meaning, hey, this is Eric Tenkar's personal opinion, that's certainly true. But I can probably, and I'm not going to name them, but I could spout off names from the left and the right who believe the OSR is certainly a place to get their outside politics into the game space. I disagree with it, especially when it comes to publishers. I don't believe that they should be putting it into the game space. As somebody who moderates and has a gaming community or two on Discord, on Facebook, the reason why I personally leave and request that people leave their outside politics and social issues outside the gaming space is because it's not an appropriate place for these discussions, because these discussions are important and they are very invested in by people who may be in marginalized communities, may be somebody that doesn't conform to other aspects and they feel that they're being underrepresented. It's important to them. I respect that. But the thing is, these conversations, if they're had in, I don't know, a gaming community for tabletop RPGs that is otherwise not about politics, descends so quickly into name calling, just horrible internet trolling. The amount of energy needed to shut that shit down is wasted energy for conversations that do no good. There are certainly places where this is appropriate. There are certainly places where these conversations can be had, and maybe people will be more mature. The average gaming community, 98% of people are certainly mature enough to have those conversations. There's another 2% that aren't, and they are the ones that make everybody else blow up. This is the honest fact. So that's why I would say any OSR, I don't know, Savage Worlds, Palladium community, any of these gaming communities, I would suggest that they minimize this. Even N World, keeps that to a minimum, right? Why? Because the conversations are never what you want them to be, no matter what side you're on. All right, they devolve. So, saying that the OSR is a gaming movement whose players claim they are against outside politics permeating their game space certainly applies to individuals within that community, but it is not a community wide stance. So that's bullshit. That's number one. These players support the use of traditional fantasy tropes in game design, such as the existence of good and evil races with no nuance. Now, this is being written by somebody who apparently has not the history in gaming that most OSR gamers have. If you came into gaming and you've been gaming since, I don't know, the early 80s, you'll remember the nature versus nurture discussions that were had in Dragon Magazine. You'd have it in your gaming group. I know we did. What were they about? Well, York Paladin, because everybody, there was no way in any kind of reality that every party should have a paladin, but somebody always got that 17 in charisma and 18 exceptional strength. And yes, you had the paladin. The paladin, the ultimate in lawful good, the ultimate in right and wrong, nature versus nurture. You come across the orcs and you kill the orcs out in the field and you trace them back to their camp using the ranger's tracking skill because you're going to find all that fat loot and you get there and what's left at the orc camp? Women and children, women and babies. Well, the orc women are evil, right? You got to kill those otherwise innocent, but they're evil women. But what about the children, right? What about those babies? That's where nature versus nurture. The discussion would be, are orcs evil or maybe predisposed to being evil, but if they were brought up by that lawful good paladin or maybe that neutral good ranger, maybe they could be something different. I know in games that I've run, I've had my players capture a goblin at times, and the goblin wasn't necessarily evil. Maybe they were the runt of the litter. They were neutral. They were lawful neutral, and just wanted to find, hey, this is they party gives me respect and treats me well. I'll give them ultimate loyalty. Look at Drist, right? Drist Duerden. Fiction. That fiction started out when? I guess late 80s, early 90s, Forgotten Realms. The drow elf that was good, or drow, I don't remember how to pronounce it. So this isn't new. All right? We've always questioned it. And there is a nuance to it. To say there was no nuance to it, we've always had nuance to it. We've always had questions to it. So again, these are just it's like making assumptions about anything else. This is stereotyping like anything else. And it's a poorly written article for that. So, OSR games are often seen as the old guard of tabletop gaming and tend to idolize the past. I don't know if it's idolizing the past, although some do. I appreciate the past and I prefer the older game systems and the clones over the new ones. Why? Quite likely because I can no longer learn new systems like I did, 30 years ago. I don't have that skill. So I default to stuff that I feel comfortable with. And I've been playing for the last 30 years. I don't see anything. It's like somebody likes collectible car. You got your 67 Chevy. Well, why haven't you stepped up to a 2022 Subaru? Well, I like my 67 Chevy. Yeah, but you could have a brand new car. Yeah, but I like my 67 Chevy. Yeah, but it's not as fuel efficient. Yeah, but I like my 67 Chevy. Well, then you must be whatever. Oh, you must be a default to the white masculine worldview, Trammell says. Trammell is the assistant professor. So, these are not. Listen, I wouldn't have the issues I have if they said things like many or often or it isn't uncommon. But no, these are absolutes. And we all know when we deal with absolutes, we're often wrong. All right? We are often wrong. Now, It could be, because I'll be honest with you, this article reads to me like it was written by a Kotaku author, and I didn't check to see who authored this article. So it could mean that the reporter just took the quotes they thought sounded shocking and newsworthy, and we're going to go with that because a lot of this stuff is paraphrasing. Very few quotes are even a sentence long, they're parts of a sentence. So often they're painting a picture to get what they want. Listen, I don't have much faith in mainstream media from any perspective, okay? Because they're selling clicks. This might be PBS, but they're selling clicks. Okay, I turned off my ad blocker because we have a support provided by, and now it's coming up as All Creatures Great and Small from PBS. But if I unpause ad blocker and refresh the page, that goes away. And before that, I forget who was sponsoring. It wasn't PBS. So they're selling clicks. Okay? Yes, I know. We all are. All right? I got ads on YouTube. I understand that. But my ads on YouTube aren't giving you articles like this. Although I'm covering an article like this. I'm disappointed. I mean, there was a time when I could go to PBS and PBS could give you informative news. McNeil Lair News Hour was something I used to watch, not because I had much of a choice. When I spent my summers in the Poconos, we had one channel, Channel 44, WVIA, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Hazleton. But the programming was good. This is the article on the PBS News Hour on their website, and the article is here to sell clicks, to get people talking about it, right? You're going to get people talking about this in the OSR because the OSR, look, we're gonna libel you. Look, OSR, look at what we're saying about you. Oh, look about the inclusivity, about inclusivity and how it's not inclusive. I'm surprised they didn't say that most of these OSR gaming groups are old white men, because you could probably say that because a lot of these OSR gaming groups are the same groups that have been gaming together since high school. And back then, even now, you socialize with people that you live around, that you went to school with, that you formed friendships with. When I game at a game store, everybody's welcome at my table. When I game at a convention, everybody's welcome at my table. Nobody's putting up signs that say only old white bearded grognards are welcome here. I don't know. There's a lot more to this article I could discuss. This is enough for tonight. Tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, myself, Bad Mike, we will be having a live stream. I am damn well sure this article will come up. Mike might have a different take on it than I do. That's certainly possible. He usually does. So it's 8 p.m. Eastern, this channel, Talking Crit, to live stream. That's about 2 hours. If you want to join us and participate, you got to be subscribed. That's all you got to do. And obviously chat. Folks, on that note, as usual, you're in the midst of what? The endemic. So I ask you, please, I beg of you, use your common sense. It's not going away. Be safe, be well, God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. Tonight, 8 p.m. Hope to see you then.